The Middle East is on the brink of a major escalation. Iran and its allies are preparing to retaliate for the death of a high-profile Hamas leader. But what's really happening behind the scenes? Iran and its axis of resistance are likely planning a coordinated strike on Israel in response to the killing of former Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh on July 31st. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has vowed retaliation, with reports indicating that a two-wave attack may be imminent. The first wave would likely involve Hezbollah and other axis of resistance members, while the second wave would be a direct Iranian strike. This approach could reflect differing priorities between Iran and Hezbollah, with the former possibly favoring a more calculated response. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian reportedly opposes a direct strike on Israel, contrary to the more aggressive stance of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. This division highlights internal rifts within Iran's leadership. While the IRGC advocates for immediate retaliation targeting Israeli cities, Pezeshkian prefers attacking Israeli bases in Azerbaijan or Iraqi Kurdistan. Pezeshkian's reluctance stems from concerns over sparking an all-out war and undermining potential nuclear negotiations with the West. Despite his position, Pezeshkian has limited influence over military decisions, which are ultimately controlled by the IRGC and other key military leaders. Hezbollah has escalated its attacks on northern Israel, launching 9 separate strikes since August 8th. These attacks included rockets targeting Kiryat Shmona and anti-tank missiles near Manara. In response, the Israel Defense Forces conducted airstrikes in southern Lebanon, killing a Hamas commander responsible for orchestrating attacks from the area. Hezbollah's increased aggression reflects its preparation for a potential larger conflict with Israel, aiming to establish deterrence and retaliate for ongoing Israeli operations that have targeted Hezbollah leaders in Lebanon and Syria. Hamas is facing internal pressure regarding its position on ceasefire and hostage negotiations with Israel. Yahya Sinwar, Hamas's new political leader, has reportedly maintained a hardline stance, demanding Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip and the release of high-profile Palestinian prisoners. However, there are conflicting reports on whether Sinwar is under pressure from Gaza military commanders to quickly reach a ceasefire deal. This internal tension within Hamas reflects the complexities of balancing military objectives with the need to avoid further escalation, particularly in the face of potential broader regional conflict. Iran is expanding its military and defense cooperation with Belarus, as evidenced by recent meetings between high-ranking military officials from both countries. The discussions held in Tehran focused on shared threats such as United States unilateralism and Western sanctions. Iran emphasized Belarus's role as a barrier to NATO expansion, aligning with Tehran's opposition to Western influence in both Europe and the Middle East. This growing partnership underscores Iran's strategy of building alliances with countries that share its adversarial stance toward the West, potentially creating new challenges for NATO and its allies. The United States, along with the United Arab Emirates and Egypt, has called for urgent ceasefire and hostage negotiations between Israel and Hamas, scheduled for August 15th. This effort, described as a Hail Mary by United States officials, aims to resolve key issues and prevent a regional war. Despite conflicting reports about Hamas's stance, Israel has agreed to send a negotiations team. The outcome of these negotiations remains uncertain, but the involvement of multiple regional powers reflects the high stakes and the international community's interest in preventing further escalation in the conflict. The Israel Defense Forces continue extensive clearing operations in both Gaza and the West Bank. In Gaza, operations focus on Khan Yunis, where Israeli forces are targeting Hamas fighters and militia infrastructure. In the West Bank, Palestinian militias, including the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, have launched coordinated attacks on Israeli targets, indicating a well-organized resistance effort. These ongoing military activities highlight the persistent and complex nature of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with both sides engaging in escalated military actions as they prepare for potential broader confrontations.